Hey, speaking of pigskin, Donald Trump, in his ongoing effort to distract us from the fact that he doesn't want Melania to see the Epstein files, went after Rosie O'Donnell again. He's been threatening to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's American citizenship, which, like being standing up, he cannot do.
I love that because Trump is always
a president that actually, had the worst tribulations our country's ever faced and brought us together. Now, the opposite is happening right now. We have a president who started out when the country was together and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb.
well.
Destroying every institution.
The whole show of Donald Trump being president feels like it was made for comedy. When Jimmy Kimmel and Jim Carrey start making fun of him, it's not just jokes. It's like watching a wild crash of ego, mistakes, and silliness. Imagine a man saying he's making history, but what he really makes looks more like funny blooper videos glued together by accident. America didn't really get a leader. It got someone acting like a parody actor who doesn't even realize he's trying out for a role that nobody wanted him to play.
He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly. He might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this now.
In modern times, he criticized capitalism without a conscience. And that's what we have now. We have capitalism without a conscience. He showed the common man being fed through years of brutal, dehumanizing industrial age. He took on the American right wing of his day, its worst evils: hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed, and the abuse of power.
If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Kimmel starts off by tearing apart the image Trump tries so hard to show. It's like a magician showing how every trick is fake. Kimmel says Trump acts like yelling louder makes him smarter, like volume alone is some kind of school degree. The Oval Office, which was once a serious and respected place, now feels like a comedy stage where the star fails every night but still wants more claps. Kimmel makes the joke that Trump's nonstop self-promotion has turned into the punchline itself. Because when the president acts like running a country is the same as a talent show, the joke almost writes itself.
And before I share this, I'd like to remind you, this is a post from the President of the United States. He wrote, "As previously mentioned, we are giving serious thought to taking away Rosie's citizenship. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so." Here's the thing, whenever he's spitting out, he goes back to Rosie. That's his safe space. He's zero.
Carrey brings his own crazy style, making Trump look like a cartoon that's so over the top it feels scary, because it's true. He draws Trump as a walking caricature of greed and nonsense, someone so unbelievable that if you wrote him in a comedy script, no movie producer would buy it. But here he is, driving the country like he thinks his golf cart could win a big race. Carrey's genius is making Trump's flaws so big that it feels like looking in a funhouse mirror. But somehow it still looks real.
He's a car salesman. He's a
con
car
man.
salesman.
Absolutely.
And he's, he didn't make America great again, but he did turn back the odometer.
So who knows what the hell is wrong with us?
But as I watch,
We're in the back seat, right?
right.
We're not in.
As I watched this week, what I kept thinking was, it all comes down to this case of narcissistic personality disorder. We've all talked about it since he's been on the public scene.
Kimmel goes even deeper, making fun of Trump's love for drama and shows. Instead of fixing real problems, he makes them into fake TV episodes. Instead of solving issues, he turns them into twists for his story. The U.S. under him feels less like a real country and more like a never-ending reality show. There are cliffhangers, huge plot holes, and wasted money everywhere. Kimmel points out the craziness of this leadership style, where the president cares more about TV time than real answers. It leaves people both laughing and shaking their heads at the same time.
Calling her fat is what makes him comfortable. Meanwhile, she's about half his weight now. In fact, he posted He posted the photo. This photo he posted looks really more like him than her. Rosie O'Donnell. How can someone so old be so childish? It's Benjamin can't button his pants.
Carrey then makes it even crazier by comparing Trump to a circus master who can't control anything, but still wants claps for the chaos. The elephants are running wild, the lions are attacking the clowns, and Trump is waving his arms like it's all part of the plan. Carrey shows this with wild energy. Trump's presidency feels like an improv comedy act gone wrong, and the worst part is everyone else is stuck inside this skit with no way to get out.
But we see it in real time. Somebody really unraveling, spiraling toward madness.
So I'm an asshole? Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
You're not.
There was a tape of him talking to Bob Woodward, right? We heard that this week. At the end of it, he gets a little frustrated and he says, well, accurate is that nobody's ever done a better job than I'm doing as president. He says, how can you...
Job of what? Job of what? Demolition Man?
Right.
Kimmel then talks about Trump's strange relationship with the truth. He makes fun of how Trump changes reality whenever he wants. To him, facts are not rules, they're just annoying problems. Kimmel imagines him like a kid who scribbles on his report card and says he got straight A's, then yells at anyone who points out the mess. Under Trump, government looks like a bad joke where mistakes disappear not because they're fixed, but because he says they're successes. People laugh not just because he's bold, but because so many others believe him. Carrey takes it further, imagining Trump's time as president as a crazy museum. There's a gold room of excuses, a hall of unfinished work guarded by cardboard cutouts, and a mirror room where every reflection says genius, no matter how silly it looks. Kimmel compares him to a child stomping in a sandbox, thinking he's building a kingdom, but actually ruining it for everyone. The jokes work because it feels too real. Trump tries so hard to look strong, but he shows his weakness every time.
They kicked the can in the hopes that, I don't know, we'd be hit by a tidal wave or something, it would wash away, but it didn't wash away. So they tried another dumb idea. Again, this time the House Oversight Committee released some of the Epstein files, around 33,000 pages of the Epstein files, the vast majority of which had already been released. You would think that of all the cases, the one for Jeffrey Epstein would get a full release, but no.
Carrey goes wild again, showing Trump's presidency as a show gone wrong. Imagine a comedian bombing on stage, then yelling at the audience, but still asking for a standing ovation. That's Trump as president in one picture. His failures were called wins, his chaos was called strategy, and anyone who stayed quiet was treated like an enemy. Carrey exaggerates it perfectly, showing the nonsense behind the curtain. Kimmel joins in, attacking how Trump handled big crises. Instead of treating disasters like serious emergencies, he treated them like chances to fix his image. For example, during the pandemic, he cared more about looking good than saving lives. He even turned briefings into little press events. Kimmel makes fun of how Trump acted like leadership was about dodging blame instead of fixing problems. Together, they show how dangerous it is when someone's pride is bigger than their ability to lead.
We are fighting those same evils today. In America, in the United Kingdom, across the globe. And we need to be clear, shamelessness is not and will never be a superpower. It is the mark of a villain. Kidnapping children is not what great nations do. Almost half of America at this moment believes there is a sinister deep state diabolically plotting to what? Give them health care?
Kimmel also makes fun of Trump's obsession with crowd size, ratings, and claps. He says Trump treats politics like a game show, always looking at the scoreboard, thinking approval numbers are trophies. It's ridiculous. The most powerful leader in the world acting like a guy refreshing his phone to see if people like him. Kimmel's jokes hit hard because they show how small this obsession is. Carrey turns into pure slapstick, saying Trump is like a performer who bows after every line, waiting for cheers that never come. He imagines the Oval Office having a laugh track just so Trump doesn't feel the silence. Carrey turns Trump's hunger for praise into endless comedy, making his desperation the funniest part. Together, they don't just make fun of Trump, they completely tear down the myth he built around himself.
Now, there was some new information in the document. Contrary to what Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi said, there was video of that missing minute of security footage shot outside Epstein's cell. That footage somehow this footage got re-edited more times than the Zack Snyder Justice League cut. And it's a big problem for Trump because the push to release the names isn't just coming from the left. This is a bipartisan effort. It's coming from inside the House.
Kimmel shows how Trump bent politics around himself, ignoring rules, laws, and traditions whenever they didn't suit him. He compares Trump to a reality show contestant who thinks rules don't apply. People laugh, but also feel the sadness, because it's true. The system meant to protect democracy became just a backdrop for his show. Carrey goes even further, imagining Trump as a cartoon villain who stumbled into the White House and stayed just because he liked the comfy chairs. Instead of being remembered as a great leader, he'll be studied as a warning, like a blooper reel of failure. Kimmel makes sure the humor is sharp, so the message sticks.
Saying Trump as an artist, this isn't exactly a Norman Rockwell. No one is hanging this in a museum. Their other proof he didn't do it is the signature. They say it doesn't look like his signature. It sure does to me. Especially when you compare it to other Trump signatures from that era, they're almost exactly the same. They all end with a long D, which I can only assume is Trump overcompensating for a small D.
Carrey ends his roast with an outrageous vision of the future. He imagines museums filled with Trump's nonsense, robots throwing tantrums, Twitter posts displayed like old scrolls, and wax figures that collapse if you look at them too long. It's crazy, it's funny, but it's also true. Carrey shows that Trump turned chaos into culture. Each museum room would be a warning about power without real skill or morals. He doesn't just make fun of Trump as a president. He shows him as someone so desperate for fame he would rather be hated than ignored. Kimmel's roast makes the White House feel like a stage where the show never ends, even when the curtain should have fallen.
Here's the other thing. This book is 22 years old. Who would have been faking Donald Trump's signature in a private birthday book in January of 2003? The Apprentice wasn't even on the air yet. This would require an extraordinary amount of planning. Caroline Leavitt, his press secretary, the woman who keeps insisting Trump didn't draw this or sign this in 2003, she was 5 years old. She was too young even for Jeffrey Epstein in 2000.
The two of them, Kimmel with his sharp satire and Carrey with his wild, surreal comedy, destroy every piece of Trump's fake image. Kimmel makes people see his presidency as a bad performance nobody asked for. Carrey makes sure the laughter cuts even deeper by showing how silly it looks when someone mistakes shouting for strength and fame for leadership. They don't just poke fun at Trump's time in office. They rip it apart completely until there's nothing left. The man who wanted to be remembered as great now looks tiny, eaten alive by his own pride and theatrics. Carrey's cartoon-like version makes the comedy last forever. What once looked like greatness now feels like a blooper reel that plays on repeat.
Poland had the misfortune to visit in the middle of Hurricane Epstein. As you probably know, Republicans forced an early recess over the summer to avoid having to vote on whether to release the Epstein files, which many of them do not want to do because it would upset Orange Julius Caesar bigly.
It becomes clear that Trump's story can't survive comedy because comedy doesn't lie. It just shows the truth. Kimmel's jokes and Carrey's wild ideas reflect exactly what Trump built: a cartoon of power, a parody of leadership, and a mockery of responsibility. Their roast makes sure this legacy won't fade away quietly. It will forever be remembered as one big joke. Together, Kimmel and Carrey tear down everything: his image of strength, his claims of being smart, and his illusion of greatness. They leave nothing standing. Trump's presidency looks less like history and more like a bad skit that ran on too long. The saddest part isn't that he tried, it's that the whole country had to sit through the act. And when the show finally ends, the only applause will be for the comedians who made everyone laugh through the pain.